Hey guys, welcome to my channel Miss Recap. In a home where her parents are constantly fighting, little Jo only finds joy in climbing through the kitchen cabinets and outside the window, where she sits in solace. 20 years later, Jo wakes up to work late as usual, so she quickly dresses up and leaves for work, where her job is a cleaner. At that moment, she gets a call from the company where her autistic brother, Michael, works. Upon getting there, the manager is pissed that Michael had messed with the company's data and leaked their confidential files to the local press. Because of this, he's going to be sacked with no payoff. Jo is furious, saying this is like his 8th job, and the manager says he's just lucky that they are not pressing charges for data theft. On their way out, she gets another call, but this time from her workplace, where they inform her that she too will be sacked if she doesn't get to work in 2 hours. Left with no choice, she has to bring her brother alongside her. Rushing to get to work, she tries starting her bike, but it refuses to start, so they have to quickly take a bus. Unfortunately, they enter the wrong transport, so they have to rush out again to find the right one. Getting to work, she's joined in the elevator by the CEOs of the company, Jeffrey and Gerald. When a pregnant woman joins in, Gerald appears to be disgusted and makes a joke saying the pregnant lady should be at home. In her defense, Morgan says if they'd pay her for maternity leave, maybe she wouldn't have to be here. Jo finally gets to meet Derek, her boss, who assigns her to clean the hardest part of the skyscraper for coming late. While cleaning the windows, she's joined by Noah, Michael, who is being supervised by one of the company's security, but his attention goes elsewhere. Using the opportunity, Michael starts snooping around the company. Meanwhile, the CEOs are being interviewed by a TV host, where she reports on the growth of the company's energy system and mentions that they are having their shareholders' gala this evening. Jeffrey appears to be the smart one, addressing the benefits the company brings to the world, whereas his brother Gerald only makes a grunt of affirmation. Absolutely. Noah appears to be very fond of Jo, looking around from the tall building, where he makes a comment saying, "All flesh is grass," and wonders what life was like before humans came to corrupt the environment. A message from Derek interrupts them, saying they need to clean up fast since it's almost time for the company's shareholders' party. Noah then shares his concerns for Michael, telling her to take him somewhere nice immediately after work. While the gala hall is being decorated, Gerald keeps taking some happy powder. Jo is still cleaning late in the evening when Michael shows up and tells her he wants to go home, but Jo says her shift is not over yet, and him being up here would get her sacked, so he needs to go and wait on the ground floor while she finishes up. Jo is basically done with the cleaning, but Derek insists that she still has a lot of windows to clean. Left with no choice and trying not to be jobless, Jo continues through the night when she realizes that Derek has cut her off from controlling the lift and wants to do the controlling himself. Due to the darkness, she almost slips and drops her sponge, which hits a passerby. Meanwhile, a masked group, which is supposedly the gala performers, makes it into the building. Jo finishes the cleaning and calls Derek, pleading to let her out, but being a jerk doesn't have an expiration date, and he ignores her plea, intending to severely punish her for coming late to work that day. He finally pulls the lever. While Jeffrey proceeds to give a speech about the company's progress over the years, his brother Gerald gets bored and takes his girlfriend to another room to do some naughty stuffs. Derek and the others are attacked and shot dead in the control room by the masked men, and his body pushes the lever, which causes the lift to suddenly start to descend. One of the masked men happens to be a hacker who manages to override the company's control system and data. Down at the event hall, the masked men suddenly release a gas that knocks everyone unconscious, except the crew, who wear gas masks to prevent passing out. As soon as everyone in the building passes out, the masked group initiates phase 2 of their plan, which is seen by Jo. But since she's outside the building and has no way of getting in, she can only wait for help. Meanwhile, Michael runs around and finds a safe room to hide in for the meantime. The masked men proceed to gather the shareholders and people who have been working for the company so far and prepare them to make a serious confession. One of them brings out some guns and shares them with everyone, while Z, the hacker, shares that it will take 4 hours before the goons without masks wake up. The group leader introduces himself as an activist with an organization known as Earth Revolutionists. Their propaganda is to ensure that Earth and its environment are safe, and they fight anyone or any company that affects it. They will interrogate them one by one and promise that they will walk free if they comply. Z makes sure that all the radios are jammed and that no one has access to the building. Once the group is gathered, they find that one person is missing, and it's one of the Milton's brother Gerald. When they ask his brother, he refuses to talk, so one of them breaks his fingers to make him talk. They go to his room, give him a breathing mask, and wake him while Jo watches through the window. Gerald tries to tell his captor that there's someone outside the window, but he can't see him, so he takes off his mask, revealing he's actually Noah, Jo's cleaning partner. Using a trolley, he takes Gerald with him to join the others. Jo tries yelling for help, but her distance from the ground is too far, and no one can hear her. So she tries to improvise, ties her rope to the lift, and begins to descend. The masked group leader removes his mask and introduces himself as Blake, telling everyone to remain calm. Jeffrey thinks they've come for money, but Noah makes it clear they didn't come for money by hitting him. Z proceeds to play a video that shows the company's corrupt practices over the years. It turns out that the company has been polluting the earth and uses a disguise as a green world advocate to work with investors and media to cover up their bad practices on how they're actually damaging the ecosystem. One of their green life advocates was on a mission to uncover their polluting production, and she was later found dead. Of course, it was the company behind it, but because they have the money, they quickly used the media to share false news, and justice was not carried out on the case, leading the death of a lady to amount to nothing. But today, Blake promises that the whole world will know what they've done to the countless lives they've destroyed, and once the stock of the company starts to decline, then their mission will be complete, and they will be released. Jeffrey tries to bribe Blake, which further infuriates Noah, and he grabs a wine bottle and shoves it down Jeffrey's throat, forcing Blake to quickly hold him back. Blake warns him to get himself back together and remember their plans. They're not here to kill but to change lives. It turns out Noah has other plans of his own as his gang brings out strapped bombs. Meanwhile, Jo finds a jelly inside the lift's compartment and runs it on the window and proceeds to light it up, where everyone outside on the ground floor gets to see an SOS message. Now the police will be on their way. Learning this, Blake immediately sends Noah to deal with Jo. Gerald notices the distraction and runs to one of his rooms. Noah finds Jo and tells her to bring her up so he can focus on Gerald. Blake finds Gerald and tries to grab him, but his gun mistakenly goes off and shoots the glass. Noah joins them, gun drawn, ready to kill Gerald. But Blake says he shouldn't be stupid, as they're close to achieving their goals. However, Noah immediately shoots him instead, and the ones loyal to Blake are equally shot and killed. Blake's body is thrown out the window while he shoots Jeffrey in the leg, so he can't run. Jo moves closer to Blake's body and takes his gun and phone. Michael shows up and quickly hides when he hears someone coming. Hearing the police sirens, Noah calls the emergency line, where he pretends to be a hostage. Using the pregnant cleaner, Noah threatens to kill her unless she empties her clip on the street, so the police will pay attention to her, buying them some time on the inside. The police helicopter soon arrives and points a sniper at her, waiting for orders. To make sure the situation buys them some time, since the news has already covered her as the suspect in the terror attack, Noah tells Z to wire $33 million from the company's account into Jo's account to make it look obvious. Detective Gov soon arrives and is briefed on the situation. One of the investigating officers explains that, according to Jo's profile, she was once in the Marines. She made it through the selection process but had to quit after beating her spotter for assaulting her. The ground operating officer soon joins in, waiting for her command to shoot down Jo, but the detective tells him to hold on and not to make any rash decisions. Since she put up an SOS sign calling their attention, there's no way she could be one of the attackers. At that moment, they find out that she received a sum of $33 million, and the men think she needs to be taken down. But the detective insists that they wait a little longer. Jo approaches the body of Blake and takes out his phone. The crane suddenly jolts, causing the body to fall off, and Jo manages to hold on. The detective soon receives a call from Jo, telling her not to shoot and begging her to help keep her brother safe. Meanwhile, the whole shareholders and participants of the Agnian company are filmed making their individual confessions. Digging deep into the activist group, they see a video of Noah from years back on his activist post about saving the planet. Blake was a pacifist activist who was involved in many operations to take down some of Agnian's operations without casualties. Learning that Blake was killed by Noah, she maps him out as a terrorist. Inside the building, Noah is given electronic braces that follow his impulses. If he's agitated, he has 5 seconds to cool off, or else it detonates, killing himself and everyone else in the building. The detective tries to negotiate with Noah to release the hostages, but he reveals that they're still under confession. After that, he's going to let some of them go and will release the rest after a clear passage. While negotiating, Noah notices a group of police officers approaching the building and tells them they have 5 seconds to step back. After seeing them in position, he detonates a bomb that obliterates the policemen. The detective realizes that the chief of ground operations went behind her back and ordered the men to go out there, and she warns him not to try it again. Z hears the news and begins to doubt her choices. Noah calls the detective to inform her that he wants to go in and save his brother. The police quickly spot an eye coming her way and warn her about it. She acts swiftly. Using her childhood skills, she scales through the windows and makes it to the other side before it explodes, but the impact pushes her off guard. With backup from the police, she tells the sniper to shoot a hole through the window so she can break in and enter the building. The news has now labeled the group and Noah as terrorists, following the killings of the 5 police officers. After many trials, Joe is able to break through the glass with the help of his brother. The team quickly learns that she's still alive and goes after her. The duo hides in a generator room while the men search for them. Joe manages to catch one of them off guard and beats him by putting his face on the steam pipe. The second guy tries to shoot, but autistic Michael uses his Thor hammer to hit him in the head. This has no effect, and the bad guy tosses him around. Seeing this, Joe quickly grabs a gun to kill the first guy and immediately turns to shoot the second guy, killing them both. As they try to run, they're cornered by the last one, but Joe manages to shoot at the steam pipe, causing the bad guy to scream in excruciating pain. But she manages to come out alive, and a brawl begins as both women match themselves in combat. The bad one manages to grab a gun, but somehow has to wait for a few seconds. Autistic Michael throws a grenade that explodes, throwing her out of the building and falling to her death. Z gets the video ready to show the world, but during Noah's speech, he mentions that by the time the world sees the video, they'd be dead. This isn't what she signed up for, so she tries running, and one of the men chases after her and shoots. He's about to finish her, but Joe shows up and finishes him off. Joe and Michael make it to the control room, and Michael is able to take down the video before it goes public. She calls Noah to tell him that his plans are in ruins now, as she has taken down the evidence. Now, his actions and killings so far are meaningless. Michael takes the hard drive of the computer as they make their way out of the building. Joe calls the detective and tells her to bring in their men since Noah would come after her and wants her to take care of her autistic brother. Joe gives out her location to Noah so they can come after her while the police can infiltrate the building. The detective tells the operation not to kill Noah because once his pulse stops, the whole building goes down with it. Joe manages to catch one of them off guard and kills him, while the police make it to the hostages and take down the bad guys. Joe finds the other one checking on his partner and slashes him with a knife. Joe finds Noah sitting and waiting for her. A fight ensues, and at first, Noah gains the upper hand and beats her to the ground, asking her to release the drive. But she says she doesn't have it, so he tries killing himself. Joe stops him, managing to throw the gun off of him and grab the wrist bomb without him realizing it. Kicking him, hanging on for dear life, he tells Joe that she is lost. But she shows him the pulse bracelet. He tries to climb back up, but Joe pushes the rope, and Noah falls to his death. With everywhere safe now and calm, the detective approaches Joe to ask for the drive, but Joe lies, saying they never had it. She asks if she gets to keep the $33 million, and the detective tells her she has to give that back. A few days later, the leaked video of the Milton brothers and the company's shareholders confessing their atrocities goes viral, both on social media and the news, while Joe and her brother spend time together. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notification so you can watch more videos like this.